there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So whilst I was on holiday, Kabam decided to drop arguably the biggest news in the history of MCOC, maybe with the exception of 12.0. And that is that they are adding Relics, 7-star champions, new Ascension mechanic, and gave us some details about it. Now, I will not be breaking down all of this post. I'm sure that most of you who are interested have already read it. I can link it in the video description below. You can go over it. But in this video, I'm not going to go in most of the details of technicalities. We're going to be rather discussing the picture at large here. And let's get to it. So we're going to start with 7 stars. Then we're going to go to Ascension mechanic. And then we're going to talk about Relics last. Talk about 7 stars. Fairly simple. This is the devil we know. And we all expected them to come at some point. And this is and was the continuation of the game that I kind of foresaw, was willing to accept, and I thought is the least intrusive one. Because as I said just now, it's the devil we know. We have had the 5-star level added, we have had the 6-star level added, who unfortunately 6 stars weren't added well, but we got through it. And even though a lot of people are discouraged by the idea of chasing a new kind of like roster and building up a new roster from scratch in the 7-star level, I personally have much more kind of grounded feeling towards it, because I know for a fact that I'd finally enjoy having the ability of opening a crystal where I'm not looking for 1 or 2 specific champions. And I know that it is coming from a very minority point of view of people who have vast majority of the 6 stars in the game already. But the thing is, the more time passes, the more people that are just like that, who are looking for less and less 6 stars, and opening the 6-star crystals turns into much more of chasing a couple of specific champions rather than just being excited of getting something good. And as I mentioned before, since we have done it, since we have went through it, this is the direction and this is the addition that I am most willing to accept overall. I know not everybody is like that, and there are alternatives. Therefore, stick around and I'm going to explain my kind of like full opinion at the end here. But this would have been like my preferred announcement. 7 stars are coming next year. You start earning shards in November. Leave it there. And obviously it would still be big news, but it would be nowhere near as earth-shattering in my opinion, realistically. And it would be something that I would actually try and calm the community down. And in reality, it would all depend in the execution. What would be the power levels of the 7 stars? What would be the acquisition mechanics of them, and all of that other stuff. This is something that still would be quite scary, but it is again something that we have gone through and we would be able to go through again. Because something had to happen for this game to continue. There had to be something to chase. That something could have been Relics, or that something could have been Ascension mechanic. Now, Ascension mechanic, I think, in itself is the most minor of these additions, but it is also the most false, at least in the way Kabam is presenting it here. They are trying to sell us this Ascension mechanic as in something that is going to help us increase the longevity of our 5 stars and 6 stars. Well, here are some hard facts of the game. You can play any piece of content currently in the game with 5 stars still. Right? They have had their lifespan plenty long. And I have absolutely no doubt that for many years, with or without Ascension mechanic, you will still be able to do every content in the game with 6 stars. This is something that is unneeded, and Kabam is manufacturing out of the blue to increase their abilities to monetize. Let me explain. Kabam, by doing nothing, can achieve exactly the same result by adding this Ascension. For those of you who do not understand, Ascension mechanic is just basically an extra rank on a champion. So we're going to have 5 stars rank 6, and we're going to have 6 stars rank 6 at some point. And it's completely meaningless. It's just something for Kabam to rake in more money with. Because at the moment, they are pushing through 7 stars relatively soon. And then they're also going to be pushing this Ascension to make your 6 stars live longer. If we're using a metaphor here, then we can compare it to Kabam flooring the gas pedal of a car, making it go as fast as possible, and then hitting brakes slightly simultaneously, slowing it down. And that end result would be, let's say you're going at like 50% of your maximum speed. Because even though your gas pedal is maxed, this Ascension mechanic is kind of like slowing down that power creep or power increase, or the need for 7 stars, to be more specific. Kabam could achieve exactly the same result by rolling out 7 stars slower and not having Ascension mechanic. There is no need for this. If they want to increase the longevity of our 5 and 6 stars, they can do it without this, by just slowing down our ability to rank up 7 stars highly and acquire 7 star rank up materials. They obviously do not want to do that, because then they can't monetize those resources. So we could have been in a situation where we don't need Ascension and we're earning 7 star resources slowly, and the overall power balance remains exactly the same. But Kabam, again, created the situation where they're pushing the gas pedal of a car as hard as it goes with the 7 stars, and at the same time applying brakes slightly to appear that the car is kind of like moving at a more steady, slower pace with this Ascension mechanic. Only thing Kabam would have to do is release their foot off the gas pedal slightly, keep it at 60, 70%, whatever, and it would be exactly the same result. We would be traveling at exactly the same speed. Kabam's doing this because they are earning money and will be able to monetize this Ascension and the 7 star resources. So they're earning money from doing both of these things. But for us, it is the same result as if they did neither of those things, basically. So all of this Ascension mechanic is bullshit. It really is. And the fact that it might increase the longevity of 5 and 6 star champions, again, Kabam is decreasing the longevity with the release of 7 stars and 7 star resources of them now as well. So they're kind of like inventing a disease and selling a cure at the same time. So I don't like it. As well, because we have no idea how many items, catalysts, or whatever this is going to take. There is one good thing coming out of this right now, and that is that we're going to have a 5 star rank 6 Quake, because Kabam's not releasing a 6 star Quake, but we're going to have a stronger Quake than we have now. But that's a very, very tiny upside compared to all of the extra resources that, and money that Kabam's going to be trying to get from us, trying to force us to limit break our champions, because that is something that we will have to do. This isn't going to be an optional thing. There will be a period of time where limit breaks are going to be mandatory, because everybody else is going to have limit broken champions. So you do, just like right now, you do not want to compete against somebody with 6 star rank 2s if opponent has 6 star rank 3s. Just like afterwards, you will not want to compete against people who have ascended 6 stars to rank 6 with your rank 4 or rank 5 6 stars. So it's going to be exactly the same thing. The only thing that this Ascension does is, again, creates an artificial, supply and need and demand of more rank up materials, more resources on already existing champions. Absolutely irrelevant. It's just a shoo-in. Ironically, though, if Kabam didn't release 7 stars, if Kabam didn't release Relics, this Ascension mechanic could have worked to prolong the longevity of the game, given players something to chase for another year or so. So this should and could have been in itself as a solo addition to the game without 7 stars, as a perfectly viable substitute that community would have objected the least. If there would be no 7 stars coming, if there would be no relics coming, then this announcement of Ascension could have easily extended the game's shelf life for another year or two, whilst Kabam kind of like take their time to polish the release of 7 stars or something. Having all of these announced at the same time and interacting with each other, again, just screams cash grab, and in this case, completely redundant and unnecessary. And moving on to worst thing of them all, Relics. And let me be 100% perfectly clear here. I have no love lost for any content creator who defended the addition of Relics, and any content creator who used an argument of Relics being able to delay 7 stars to kind of like make community come to peace with this. Because up until a point of right now, Kabam has tried adding Relics at least 4 times in MCOC, and it always backfired and failed, and community pushed back against it. And it was because the same content creators who were promoting Relics or covering Relics in a neutral tone previously pushed back against Relics. Since then, they all pretty much joined CCP, and they made their peace with Relics, I suppose, and they tried to sell the community out on it. Never liked this. I still don't like this. I still don't want it. I don't think the game needs it. And this screams intense RNG and monetization. Especially the way the Relics are presented here immediately screams insane monetization. And that is because there will be dupe levels. That is because there will be some sort of slots of items that we need to randomly get and then fill those slots. And that is because Relics are going to be tied to prestige. Prestige in itself is a game mechanic that has only one intention, and that intention is to earn money, to be monetized. Nobody benefits from having prestige in the game. Nobody asks for it. Prestige doesn't make the game better. Prestige doesn't make game more interesting. As soon as prestige is mentioned, it is done purely because of monetization. It exists in the game purely of monetization. This game could run without it, but it would be less profitable for Kabam. Because prestige is something that people chase, that people spend a shitload of money on, and every single time when prestige is mentioned, it is in the name of monetization. And as we all know, there is relic prestige that's going to be counted in your main prestige right now, and it's going to be an absolute shit show of cash grab. That is what I think of relics. Fuck relics. Wish nobody ever came up with them. No, I wish not a single person in the community ever accepted Kabam adding these relics. And I still hope this entire thing is going to fail spectacularly, and the relics will never become a reality of this game. Because for whatever benefit they could add to the game, they will without doubt cause as big of a harm to the players. Anything that relics do could be added in the game in different means and different methods without as aggressive monetization. Kabam has a notoriously bad track when it comes to gear systems and relic systems. Kabam already tried adding relics to Chinese version of MCOC, which died pretty much almost immediately. One of the reasons why MROC got shut down is because Kabam managed to invent one of the most stupid and most RNG cash grabby based gear systems in any game pretty much, and they're horrible at this, and everything about relics screams money, and this is going to be exactly the same. So relics by themselves it is, in my opinion, the most dangerous and the most, scary addition to the game that I wish would never happen. Relics definitely have the potential, and again, I do not ever say, the game's about to die or the game's dying. I'm much more careful with that language typically, because I always say the game is on decline or incline, the game can't sustain this for, extended periods of time, so on and so forth. Because every week somebody says the game's dying, the game's still here 7 years later. And I don't think that I'm exaggerating, that this is something that can genuinely kill the game. And I truly believe that, because of how insane monetization is going to be here. Like, make no mistakes, there will be relic cav crystals where, the whales are going to be going crazy, collecting every relic, duping them, getting their prestige, modifying them as they please, and so on and so forth. Whilst, every other peasant is going to scrape a couple relics a month, or maybe whatever it is. Make no mistake, there will be a ton of RNG involved, which is much more than currently we have with our champions. Because we're going to have to get a relic, dupe a relic, get the relic slots and in the correct shapes and whatnot. And it has the potential to be an absolute nightmare. Maybe Kabam can launch it well, in a reasonable manner, moderately monetized. But when has Kabam ever done that? This type of thing also requires a lot of trust from players in the community that creates this game. And they do not have it. Not from me, at least. And not from most people that I interact with playing this game. Kabam clearly absolutely butchered Battlegrounds launch. They have, clearly have a very, very bad track record of extremely aggressive monetization. And there is zero expectation for this to be different from me. Ironically speaking, obviously Relics could have had the potential to replace 7 stars, to replace Ascension mechanic, and take the game in a completely different direction, where we kind of stick with 6 stars as max rarity, and relics be the chase items, and relics, let's say, replace the chase for new champions and stuff like that. However, out of everything that's mentioned in this article, relics are by far the most dangerous. They shake the boat of MCOC that we're all in the most. A couple of missteps can very easily topsize this boat. And now as a final conclusion, again, realistically, something had to happen. There had to be a new chase thing. As I said in the beginning of the video, for me, my personal choice of the poison here would have been 7 stars. Because that's the devil we know. Kabam has had experience in releasing new star levels in the game. I think that is relatively the easiest thing for them to manage right now. I think it would have the least impact on the overall game structures, and it would just kind of feel like a natural progression of the game. We have been there, we have done it. Kabam has been there, Kabam has done it. The amount of bugs introduced, for instance, shouldn't be as large. The amount of coding problems shouldn't have been as large, and the rest of the stuff. However, any one of these 3 things could have worked if Kabam does the job well, which is a very big if. Any one of these, Kabam could have introduced relics and taken the game in the direction of chasing relics. Kabam could have introduced Ascension mechanic and used that as a temporary doorstop for another year or 2 until they decide what they want to do. Or Kabam could release 7 stars. The fact that they're doing all 3 of these things inevitably means that MCOC is going to be unrecognizable within a year, which is scary. The fact that they're releasing all 3 of these things also means that Kabam is basically banking on infinite monetization potential. The fact that they are releasing all 3 of these things also means that where you are currently with your account matters a lot less than what you're about to do in the next half a year or a year, how much money you're going to spend. All the money you have spent so far matters a lot less compared to the money that you're willing to spend in the next year or two. And here we are. MCOC is about to change. This is by far the scariest and the biggest update to the game. This is a lot of this. Most of this is something that I wish never came to the game. Every single one of these things have potential to massively fuck up the game. They really do. Or they can prolong the shelf life of the game. It will ultimately all be in execution, which is the biggest problem. Because Kabam has horrible track record and very little faith in community. Which is the reason why there are people leaving. Many people have really scaled back their commitment to this game. And many people are just freaked out and worried. As they should be. Because this is extremely major change to this game. Something had to happen. But not all three of these things. Any one of these things would have worked fine by themselves without needing anything extra added for at least a couple of years. So that is what I think. Personally, I had made my peace with 7 stars, and I wish the rest of the stuff just goes away. But that's not the case. So let's see where this story ends. Is this a new beginning for MCOC? Or is this how it goes down? Suppose we're gonna see soon enough. Let me know what you guys think. See ya. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next